when Bruno plays as a number 10, he needs, especially in these games, to drop back into that midfield because he's a midfielder and he's part of the midfield three. So he needs to drop back and give support and give cover. Too many times Eriksen and Scott McTominay had the ball, and if you look back at the game, Bruno was almost in the striker's position. So therefore, we only have two in the midfield, and there's a big hole where Bruno could drop back in and help out. The left-hand side was causing us problems time and time again. You can tell that the yellow card early on affected Dalot. He stopped being aggressive. He stopped going into challenges. And, you know, we need to remember this is Man City. This is the best team in the league with the best striker, arguably, in the league. And we are a team that finished 6th last season. So we must not get too angry, not get too upset. Our pride is going to be damaged, fully damaged. But perspective and objectivity is important, guys. Manchester City 6, Manchester United 3. And United's bubble has truly, well and truly been popped. Not a good game. Not a good game from a Man United perspective. So much to get into. We are going to unravel or unwrap what went down today. I am very disappointed in the way United started the game. I'm very disappointed in the energy and the application of the team and the players, considering that United haven't played a Premier League game for so long. It was not a good performance at all, not from a team perspective, neither from an individual perspective. United just did not turn up. So much to get into. We are going to unpack this game together, guys. I was looking forward to this game. But I was so surprised in what I saw from the players. Before we get into this game, guys, smash the like, turn on your notifications, and if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel. Brand new channel. We are going to unpack the game, give you my analysis, give you my thoughts, what went wrong, what went right. A lot went wrong. But yeah, let's go, guys. I mean, where do I start? Where do you start when you've been thrashed 6-3 by your main rivals? Where do I begin to look at this game? Where did it go wrong? So, okay, let's start on the team sheet, as you always do. Ten Hag started the team that has been playing well in the league so far. He started that same team, the same back four, Martinez, Varane, Malacia, Dalot, the same midfield, Eriksen, McTominay and Bruno, and of course the same attacking lineup that has beaten Liverpool and beaten Arsenal. So in terms of the team that Ten Hag picked, I don't think any United fan could be annoyed or angry or upset about the team that he picked, because he's picked the winning team. He's picked the team that the majority of us would want him to pick in today's game. So I think hindsight is a beautiful thing. And now the game has finished and we've lost. A lot of us can say, oh, he should have started Casemiro. He should have started Martial. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. But for me, I don't think that we can complain. He started the team that many of us would have started. So in terms of the team, that's fine. You know, he went for this team that's going to hopefully hit Man City on the break, like we did against Liverpool and like we did against Arsenal. And I think that was his game plan. But unfortunately, it just didn't come to fruition. So we know what Man City are about. Man City have been playing good football, not amazing football. I think last season they played a better brand of football, and they've had to sort of adjust the way they play because now they've got a target man like Haaland who might not link the play like Aguero did, but he's definitely going to give you or give the opposition problems in terms of his pace and his agility and mobility going that way, going forward, trying to break through the line. So Haaland gives the opposition a different kind of problem than Aguero did, and I think Man City are just trying to find their way of playing with Haaland. But if Man City are trying to find their way of playing with Haaland and smashing us 6-3, while still not, at the top of their game yet, be very worried when because this Man City team is going to get better. It is. So let's get into the game. Let's get into the game and see how I saw the game. As I mentioned before, the way we started, I know Dalot wanted to start strong, wanted to show Grealish that he means business, but that yellow card very early on, I think, gave me the impression that this game was not going to be a good game. Dalot getting booked within the first 2 minutes of the game, and knowing that he has to play against Grealish for the rest, for 88 minutes, problem. So we didn't start well. Got a yellow card straight away. We didn't have the intensity. I was watching the game and I didn't see the drive, the urgency. We weren't closing Man City down. We were allowing them the ball in our half as well. So not only were we not pressing when they had the ball in their half, we were allowing them the ball in our half. We didn't have the required intensity. And I'm thinking, is that an instruction from Ten Hag to not press as intensely? Because, if you do, Man City will just pass you off the park. So maybe that was a instruction by Ten Hag to, sit back a little bit, absorb the pressure a little bit. Because let's be honest, our defense has been one of the best parts of our game, has been a major plus, a major talking point until now. Our defense gave me the impression that we will never concede 6 goals again. The way that we have been defending, I never expected us to start the game or to concede the goals that we conceded today. And like I said, there was no intensity. But most importantly, we were poor in possession. When we did receive the ball, when Eriksen and McTominay received the ball, they were closed down very quickly. There were hardly any options for them, and there was a lack of mobility in midfield. We were very static in possession. We didn't move when we didn't have the ball. We didn't try to move in different positions. Our overall game was very static, and it showed. Man City put us under pressure time and time again, and any time we received the ball, we just lost it. We kept losing it. I've not seen us this poor in possession for a very, very long time. This game reminded me of the Brentford game, but even worse. We were poor in possession. Our midfield, especially, was just non-existent. And we're going to talk about the midfield later on. But back to the game, the left-hand side was causing us problems time and time again. You can tell that the yellow card early on affected Dalot. He stopped being aggressive. He stopped going into challenges, and perhaps he shouldn't go into challenges the same way, because you are being booked and you don't want to be sent off. And you could tell that he just didn't have the necessary intensity. And time again, Grealish off that left-hand side kept cutting inside, performing 1-2s with Bernardo Silva. The little give and goals, and we just couldn't handle that down the left-hand side. If you actually look back, a lot of the goals we conceded, the game or the move started off on the left-hand side. Their left, our right. And Anthony wasn't tracking back as much as he should have as well. So we were just being terrorized by Bernardo Silva and Grealish down the left-hand side, and we had no answer. We had no answer for it. And that's where Phil Foden's goal came from. Phil Foden's goal came from a move down the left-hand side. Bernardo Silva crossing it in, and Foden's goal was just, let's be honest, Foden's goal was a really, really good goal. That was 1-0. That was in the 7th minute they scored. And still, after they scored, the left-hand side was always a problem. Grealish cutting in, winning a foul, getting a free kick. And we had no answer. But not only left-hand side, the midfield, the centre of the midfield was a problem for the whole game today. I remember around, I think, the 18th minute when Jadon received the ball in the middle of the park, and he was so sloppy in possession, and he just lost the ball, and he put us under pressure. And I was tearing my hair out watching Jadon today, because I am a big Jadon Sancho fan. But we need to start seeing more from Jadon. I've been patient. I've given him time. He's had 3 managers in the space of a year. This is not the best time. It's a torrid time. to join a club because we're still in transition and a lot of things are still up in the air in terms of the way we play and the way we are going to go forward and all these things. So I've been giving him the benefit of the doubt, but today wasn't a good game for Jadon. It wasn't a good game. He was very wasteful in possession, and not only him, because I don't want to pick on Jadon, because at the end of the day, we can talk about individual players, and we will mention individual players, but the main thing to take away from today's game, I think, is that we just did not play well. Not one single player played really well, not one. But in the middle of the park, once again, I'm going to go back to saying the middle of the park was a problem. We couldn't get Bernardo Silva, Bernardo, and Gundogan under control. They just passed us off the park, and I love the way they played because nobody stays in position. It's not like the way we play, where we play with a midfield two that sits and they just sit and they don't move. The Man City midfield trio just always interchanging, always moving. So if they have the ball and they're passing us, we always have to just track our runners, mark this guy, mark that guy. And so when they have the ball, we always have to, in terms of when we're defending, have our ways about us, have our eyes in the back of our heads. But we didn't have that. So many times the midfield runners would just ghost past Scott McTominay and ghost past Eriksen with ease. The midfield was like a little polo with a hole in it. It was. For the whole game, our midfield was just non-existent. And it's a surprise for me because Eriksen has been, for me, the United player of the season so far. He's usually very sound when he has the ball. He finds the right man, usually finds the right pass. He doesn't lose the ball very easily. But today's match, once again, he in the middle of the park was very, very wasteful. And he played a bit like Bruno today. He kept forcing it. Scott McTominay, he's been playing really well. We've been giving him his dues and we've been giving him a lot of credit. But what we saw today was the Scott McTominay that we have been seeing for the last 2 years. Missing, hiding, not good enough on the ball, conceding little fouls, not making the right passes, not having the required IQ, and essentially, or basically not having the technical ability for me to perform week in and week out at the base of our midfield. He doesn't. So, back to the game. Like I said, the left-hand side, time and time again, Foden had a chance in the 20th minute. And then in the I think City scored 3 goals. 3 goals in the space of 9 minutes. Around, I think, 33 minutes was City's corner. Haaland scored the headed goal. 3 minutes after that, once again, a huge open space in United's midfield. De Bruyne's beautiful cross across the goal, evaded Varane, and this Haaland guy once again came up and scored. He slid in, left foot, far post, great goal. Great cross from De Bruyne. It was such a beautiful teasing cross. If Varane touched it, Varane could have, scored an own goal himself, but that goal was a great goal. And then 5 minutes after that, Foden scores. Haaland's, once again, another great goal. A lot of Man City's goals were really good goal. Haaland had the ball on the left. Once again, like I said, the left-hand side today was shocking. Haaland had the ball on the left, crossed it, and Foden scored a tap-in. You could argue Malacia should have done better, but it was a great run by Phil Foden, a nice tap in on the far post. So once again, it's just the left hand side. A lot of the goals we conceded came from the left hand side, and we need to talk about why. Now that we've spoken about the first half, and essentially that's how the first half went. We didn't have possession. We were poor in possession, and time again, their midfield just ran through. I saw De Bruyne, I saw Bernardo Silva with the ball in midfield, just running at our back four. So we do need to talk about why that is, why time and time again, because that's what happened last year. let's not kid ourselves. The way that Man City performed today and the way we were beaten today reminisced or reminded me of how we played and how we were beaten last year. Different team, different players, different manager, same result. And this is what I say, and this is what I see with our midfield, especially today. We have a midfield two that sit, technically speaking. Scott McTominay and Eriksen today. But if you go back and watch the game and watch our midfield, and I've said this time and time again about Bruno. When Bruno plays as a number 10, he needs, especially in these games, to drop back into that midfield because he's a midfielder and he's part of the midfield three. So he needs to drop back and give support and give cover. Too many times Eriksen and Scott McTominay had the ball, and if you look back at the game, Bruno was almost in the striker's position. And we've said this many times. If you're number 10, you cannot just go hang and stay up front. Rashford should be up front, not you. Too many times I saw Bruno on the right-hand side, really, really high up. Or on the left-hand side, really, really high up. Or in a striker's position, really, really high up alongside of Rashford. So therefore, we only have two in the midfield and there's a big hole where Bruno could drop back in and help out. That is a big problem. Time and time again, the midfield would evade Bruno, evade the press, and then all you have is Bernardo Silva, De Bruyne, and Gundogan, three midfielders running at our two DMs. Why? Because Bruno is all the way up the field playing as a striker. Bruno needs to drop back deep, make it a midfield three, so we have one extra player to bounce the ball off, create triangles, create room, and then hit the ball to Rashford, hit the ball to Anthony, hit the ball to Sancho. But we didn't find Bruno. And when we did find Bruno, a lot of the times, once again, he would waste the ball, he would do the hero ball. Always these crossfield passes that I look at these passes, I'm like, the pass isn't on, Bruno. That pass is not on. Keep it simple. Keep the ball. We need to learn to rotate. We need to learn to keep possession of the ball. And I'm sorry, guys, we cannot be that team that keep possession when we have players like Bruno who just spam the ball. Hoofs it. Presses triangle all the time. You know that guy, when you play FIFA against that guy, and that guy's always just doing through ball, triangle at every single opportunity. That's Bruno. Like I said, he wasn't the only player that played badly today, but that midfield three just did not work against Man City. It didn't. Their midfield three is so technical. They just pass, move, close control, pass, move. Phil Foden tucks in. The cohesion that Man City have is just on a next level, and if this game doesn't show us anything as United fans, it shows us to calm down, relax a little bit. We have a long way to go. Ten Hag is still moulding this team. We still have players that played badly last year. We're going to lose 4-0. We're going to lose some games and we're going to win some games. It's going to happen, and it will take a while before Ten Hag fully moulds this team. But, let's go back to the game. Let's talk about the second half, because I've spoken about the first half and what I saw, and I've said, in general, what I believe went wrong and how I think we lost the game. But let's look at the second half, because we scored 3 goals in the second half. And how? Why did we score 3 goals in the second half? What actually happened in the second half? You can argue that Man City took their foot off the pedal. I'm happy they did. Because we were getting spanked. I was thinking this is going to be an 8-0 game. 6-3 probably flatters Man United a little bit, but it sounds a lot better than 6-0. It does. Let's look at second half. In second half, the manager decided to take off Malaysia for sure. Okay, and I'm fine with that. I'm absolutely fine with that. I thought he might take Dallo off as well, but he didn't. He decided to make that one change. And for the first 10 minutes, it looked like Man City allowed us to have the ball. Man City didn't start the second half with the same intensity or drive that they ended the first half with, or started the first half with. So we had more possession. You know, we passed the ball a little bit more. The game was slowed down and it suited us. A slow game suits Manchester United because at the moment we do not have the speed of thought and the speed of movement yet. And when I say speed of thought, I mean the way that Man City play. You've got to have the speed of thought. You almost have to know where you want to pass the ball before you receive the ball. You have to know where your teammate is. There has to be some sort of cohesion in the way that you play. And Man City have that speed of thought and also a speed of doing things. We don't quite have that yet. So the first 10 minutes, slower game, Man City sat back, allowed us to have the ball, and we started to pass the ball a little bit in the first 10 minutes. I think around 58 minutes, Casemiro came on and Martial came on for Rashford and Scott McTominay, which I think was a good idea. It was a good idea. And I know a lot of people will now say, start Casemiro from now on instead of Scott McTominay. I don't think it's that simple. I really don't think it's that simple. When Casemiro came on, he lost the ball as well a lot. And he made some silly passes. So I honestly I don't think Casemiro I think Ten Hag doesn't mind Casemiro. And I think in the end, he'd rather take Casemiro than not have Casemiro. But we all know Frankie de Jong was, Ten Hag's main priority. And I still don't think Casemiro, while he's a good addition to the squad, good addition to the team, and while I think Ten Hag appreciates and, would rather have him than not have him, I don't think Casemiro was a main priority for Ten Hag. And you can see the fact that he still isn't starting games, I think shows that. I want to see Casemiro in the next game, but I'm not going to be one of these guys to say that we lost because we didn't play Casemiro. If Casemiro played, we still would have lost. The team just didn't show up today. And we need to remember this is Man City. This is the best team in the league with the best striker, arguably, in the league. And we are a team that finished 6th last season. So we must not get too angry, not get too upset. Our pride is going to be damaged, fully damaged. But perspective and objectivity is important, guys. But anyway, let's get back to looking at the second half. What went down in the second half? Once again, like I said, Sancho, I think there was a time or ball that was put through over the top, and all Sancho had to do was just control it and just put his foot through it and score, and he miscontrolled it. And I just literally flipped out. And like I said, I like Sancho. But today, I would have subbed Sancho off in the first half. I would have. He was so wasteful today. And he's had good games this season. Maybe this game is just a bad game. I don't want to look too much into it and write Sancho off and all these stupid things. He's a good player. But today wasn't a good day for him. And when he went off in, I think, around the 69th minute for Fred, I was happy. I think that was a good call. Fred came on and gave us more energy. And I think it's time for us to start talking about Fred, because this is what I want to say to you guys. Just because we've stumbled on a formation or a group of players that are working right now, i.e. Scott McTominay and Eriksen and Bruno, it doesn't mean that's our best midfield. Because who knows, he might try the Brazil midfield, which is Casemiro and Fred next match, and those two could be amazing. And he might say, hold on a second, let's start these two. And he might start Casemiro, Fred, and then put Eriksen as number 10, and we might go on a 6-match unbeaten run. So what does that mean? Does it mean that is now our preferred midfield three and that's now our best midfield three? Basically, the point I'm trying to make is we still don't know what our best team is. We're picking the team that's winning, but we don't know if that's our best team because we haven't seen enough combinations of midfielders yet. We haven't seen Donny. We haven't seen, like I said, Fred play with Casemiro. So I think we just need to relax, understand that the manager is still feeling things out. We're still fresh. We're still learning. Even our defense that we were so proud of totally got slapped today. And like I said, once again, it's because of that midfield. We didn't have enough numbers in our midfield. Time and time again, Man City just bypassed our midfield. But in the second half, we played better. We played better. I think the 72nd minute, around that time, Foden scored. Again, I think Foden scored his hat-trick. So 2 hat-tricks in one game. And I was like, yeah, this is not good. This is not good. I did actually miss out Anthony's goal. I did miss out Anthony's goal. And how could I forget Anthony's goal? And it shows I wasn't really enjoying the game. Anthony's goal was a really good goal. When I first saw it, I thought, did it take a deflection? But he didn't. He cut inside and he whipped it with his left. Great goal. And in the second half, Anthony started to get more into the game. And it's a shame because we haven't seen anything. We literally haven't seen anything from Anthony yet. But you can see that when he gets the ball, he takes care of the ball. He's not gonna lose the ball doing something stupid. You know, he usually takes good care of the ball, and that's what I want. When I look at Anthony, I see that once this team develops in the next 2 years, once Ten Hag gets rid of certain players and brings in more of his own players, Anthony will be there still. Anthony is one of very few players in this team that I see as potentially world class, and I see as somebody that will be in the team for the next 4 or 5 years at least. You know, I see other players moving on. I see, you know, other players being upgraded. I see Bruno, for instance, being upgraded. Rashford, you know, Martial is going to take that striker position. He's a better striker than Rashford. So I see certain, you know, players being upgraded. Perhaps Casemiro going to be in for Scott McTominay. Perhaps we're going to go back in for Frankie de Jong. You know, and so I can see, you know, certain positions being upgraded, but I don't see Anthony's position being upgraded. Anthony is only going to get better. He's only 22. So great goal by Anthony to make it, you know, 5-1. Then, of course, Man City scored again. Like I mentioned before, Foden scored a hat-trick. How United allowed 2 Man City players to score hat-tricks, 2 hat-tricks in one game. It's so embarrassing, man. As a United fan, it's so embarrassing. But we just got to keep it moving. We got to keep it moving. Even if it's 6-3 or 2-1, a loss is a loss. And we just have to, keep going. Let's see how these players react to this loss, you know. Let's see what they do in the next game. But just to finish off, sort of looking at the game, Anthony Martial. The one thing to take away from the game is that once again, when Anthony Martial came on the damn pitch, we looked like a different team. The thing is, he scored 2 goals, but he didn't do much. But what he did, he tried to hold the ball up. He tried to bring others into play. And we just looked like a different team. Yes, Man City took the foot off the pedal and, you know, allowed us to have the ball. But we still had to do our part. And we looked decent. We looked decent when Martial came on. His first goal, Fred on the left. Fred shot, the keeper parried it. Martial was there as a striker, doing strikers things, you know, being scrappy, trying to get the rebound, trying to get the deflection, and he got the header and he scored his first goal. I like that, and the reason why I like that, because it was a typical striker's goal, you know, being at the right place in the right time, and that's where we want to see Martial. And of course, he won the penalty, as he always does. I remember the 2018-2019 season when he just kept winning us penalty after penalty, and Bruno kept scoring penalty after penalty and stat padding from penalties. Martial in the penalty box with his feet, his quick thought, his quick thinking. Right, I always talk about speed of thought as well as technicality and technical ability. You have to have speed of thought, and Martial has speed of thought. So yeah, 2 goals at the end. You know, took the shine off the Man City performance a little bit, but Man City won't care. They won 6-3. It made our performance look a bit better than it was. It wasn't a good performance by Man United at all. But I'm happy that Martial is back. We can only start playing better now that he's back. And yeah, onwards and upwards, I guess. Arsenal fans are going to be really happy for some reason because they think they've won the league already. Good luck to you. But yeah, not a good game. The defense wasn't good. Varane looks like he's injured, so we'll have to wait and see with regards to that. We just never got in. We never got stuck in. We didn't. And like I said, it's the midfield. They just kept passing and moving, and they just played us off the park. We weren't mobile enough and we weren't agile enough. We left too many spaces in the centre of the park. Bruno was way too far away from his other midfield pairing. He needed to be a lot closer. And we need to stop playing rigid. You know, the way that De Bruyne... And the thing is, they didn't even play with the number 6. They didn't play with the holding midfielder. They played with a midfield that moved around and moved the ball around. And that's what we need to learn to do. We need to learn how to be comfortable with the ball, in many different situations and retain possession. Keep it moving. Don't just get possession and just hoof the ball to Rashford. Be more intelligent. Wait. Take your time. You know, be patient. And there was none of that today. So very disappointed today with the game. But we keep it moving. We will see how these players react. In hindsight, you can argue Ten Hag should have done this, should have done that. Perhaps should have made changes early on. He will learn. He's now starting to understand his players a lot more now. And he will keep understanding the players. The problem is, we know these players. We've been watching these players for 2 or 3 years. So we almost have to wait for Ten Hag to see a lot of what we already know. We cannot win the league with that midfield, with Bruno having 50 or 60% possession. The Bruno we saw today was the old Bruno. The last few weeks or a few matches, he's been simplifying his game and he's been keeping possession more. Today, what we saw is Bruno under pressure, Bruno doing hero ball, Bruno thinking he has to do this and has to do that. And a lot of the times, he doesn't even have the quality to do it. Anyway, let's look at some stats quickly before I vamoose. Shots. 22 shots to Man City's. For Man City and 12 for United. There you go. You know, they had 10 shots on target and 6 goals. 10 shots on target and 6 goals scored. Man. Interesting possession stat because I'm pretty sure at half time Man City had around 63% possession. But by the time the game is finished, they only had 55% while we had 45%. So that shows that they took the foot off the pedal, you know, in the second half. And they made it easy for us to pass the ball and move it in the second half. 466 passes to 545. So, you know, we clawed it back in the second half, like I said. Passing accuracy, 85% for Man United, 87% for Man City. 9 fouls for United, 3 for Man City. You know, so stats-wise, these stats at the end of the game sound a lot better. I mean, the main stat is the scoreline and we lost. That's the only thing that matters. But, you know, if you're going to look at the game and analyze the numbers, do the numbers show or demonstrate what I saw with my eyes? And I would say so. Because United got back into the game possession-wise in the second half when Man City took their foot off the pedal. So, yeah, these figures and these numbers, you know, back up what I saw. And that's how I use stats. Do the stats back up what you saw with your eyes? Yes, they do. Don't use stats first. Don't read the stats and then confirm what you saw with your eyes with stats. No. You use the stats to confirm what you saw with your eyes. Don't confirm the stats with your eyes, if that makes sense. And it might not make a lot of sense to you, but it makes sense to me. So, yeah, there you go. United sent crashing. We were shown a lesson today, once again, by Man City, like they have been every season, really, on how to play football. We were schooled today, like we always are schooled, by Man City. Different manager, slightly different players. This is actually one of our worst results against Man City in recent times. 6 goals conceded. Worse than, you know, Oli. But we scored 3 goals. The manager needs to go back to the drawing board, look at his players, look at his tactics. He spoke a big game going into the game, you know, saying it's not about Haaland, it's not about Man City, it's about us and how we can apply ourselves. We didn't apply ourselves at all today. We didn't. So, what do you guys think? I know I've said a lot. Let me know your thoughts on the game. Do you agree in what I said? It wasn't just one player, it was the whole team. We didn't turn up. The midfield was abysmal. The wingers didn't do much. Sancho didn't do much. Anthony was in and out of the game. He scored a good goal, but we want more. We need more from Anthony and Sancho. At the same time, those players play well in a possession-based team. And if we only have small amount of possession, those players are not, we're not going to see the best out of those players. We're not. Rashford, non-existent in the first half. And I keep telling people about Rashford. Yes, he scored 2 goals. He scored 2 goals and he got 2 assists. But he's not actually playing any better. He's not. He's still wasteful in possession. He's still Rashford. He just scored goals. The way he's playing isn't different. He just managed to score 2 goals. So once we see him in today's game just being a headless chicken, he's not a striker, guys. I like Rashford, but he's not a striker. And when Martial came on, he just showed why he is the guy. Ronaldo didn't even get a look in, guys. He didn't get a look in today. You know, Fred came on, Martial came on, Casemiro came on, Luke Shaw came on. This wasn't a game for Ronaldo. He doesn't have the required physical ability to play in these very physical, quick-paced games in the Premier League. He doesn't. So I understand. But what does that say about Ronaldo if he's not getting a look in a game like this? Ah, wow, what a game. What a game. Disappointing game, but we move. We move, guys. Thank you for watching. Smash the like, turn on notifications, subscribe, share the video with your friend. Man of the match, Anthony Martial came on, scored 2 goals. He's my man of the match. United played badly. I don't think there was any United player that played really well. Haaland, Foden, well done. 2 hat-tricks. Great performance by Man City. Hopefully a big learning curve, and hopefully we can move. Thank you. Share the video, and I will see you next time.